Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today. I thought today we'd do a painting. It's very simple. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with us. While they're doing that, let me show you what I got up here today. I have my plain old 18 by 24 inch double prime pre-stretched canvas, and I've just covered it with a very thin coat of liquid white. That's basically all. We use 18 by 24 inch canvas, but you use any size that you like when you're doing yours. I thought I'd start with a little, just a little 2-inch brush today. I'm going to tap a little bit of Indian yellow into it. Don't need a lot of color. Something about like so. Let's go up in here, and maybe right here we'll do that. That's all there is to it. Okay, got that one finished. It's that easy. I'm going to go into a little bit of CAD yellow. Same way, just use a little 2-inch brush. We don't have to even do anything. Just go around the edges. Without cleaning it, I'm going to touch a little bit of yellow ochre. There. Just working the yellows out here. A little more of the yellow ochre, come right on around. Something about like that. If you put 2 eyes and a big smiley face in there, it'd look like little orphan Annie. There we are. Okay. Sort of blend those together. And that's all we're looking for today. Something about like that. Still, without cleaning the brush, I'm going to touch a little bit of the alizarin crimson. Don't need a whole bunch. And just begin blending that together. I want to make a sky that looks like maybe the sun's here and it's shining out and it's a beautiful day. We'll do this painting mostly in brown tones. Sometimes it's gorgeous to do paintings in just one tone. There we are. All right, now then I want to mix up a color. I like brown made from sap green and alizarin crimson. That's one of my favorite colors. There we are, and I'm going to mix it a little bit to the reddish side, just a small amount. Normally we don't worry about mixing color too well. Today I want to mix this pretty good because I don't want any green streaks up in the sky. Okay, that ought to do it. Wipe the old knife. It will go right into that brown that we made there. And we can go up in here and let's begin using that. See it? It sort of matches all this. It sort of works together. It's really a gorgeous brown. All right, and some on the other side. Just right in there. And then we'll finish the canvas up. We'll just use a little Van Dyke brown. A little bit on the other side. And we're ready to wash the old brush. As you know, if you've painted with me before, that's really the fun part of this whole procedure. It's just washing the brush. It's the way I get even with everybody here in the studio that picks on me. All right. You can certainly change the decor of a room very rapidly if you're not careful. I suggest when you do this at home, you get a little device called a brush beater rack that fits down the bottom of a waste paper basket. It allows you to do all this without ruining a happy marriage, because you can certainly do that in a heartbeat if you cover the living room with paint. I'm just blending all these colors together, like so. All right, then I'm going to wash the brush again. I'm really just looking for excuses to wash the brush. There we are. Now then, I want to brighten that a little more. So I'll go right into titanium white. We'll just put a little on the 2-inch brush. Go right up in here, start in the lightest area and begin working outward. We want this to be the lightest, brightest part of this whole painting, right here. There, and just begin blending that outward. Now you can do this several times to achieve a desired lightness. You can make it as light or as bright as you want. But once you get out here in these dark colors, I suggest that you clean the brush before you bring it back into the center. There we go. Something about like so. Once again, you can make it as light as you want it when you do your painting, or leave it as dark as you want. It's really an individual thing. Now, very lightly. I just want to take out the brush strokes. Now then, if you want to put the indication, knock off the excess paint, If you want to put the indication of a little sun, we can do a little finger painting right there. And just take your finger and make a little round sun. Those square suns sort of bother people. Make it sort of round. Of course, then you have to clean your finger, and you beat it against the easel the same way. All right. And just barely caress it. And the indication of a little sun will remain right there in your sky. That easy. See there? That's all you need. Okay, let's have some fun. We're still using the same old brush, a little white, a little bit of that brown color that we made out of the sap and the alizarin mixed together. Maybe in our world, way back in the distance, there's some little foothills that live back here. So let's do that. All you have to do is decide where they live in your world and begin tapping them in. You know, when you paint, tell little stories. It makes painting easier. It makes you understand why things work in your painting. Shoot, sometimes I get carried away and maybe talk about the old trapper that lived in the woods, maybe fell in the river, just crazy things like that. But it gives you a reason for an old abandoned cabin being there or something like that. But make up little stories. I know, you're going to say your friends and relatives will sort of laugh at you, stand around talking to yourself painting, but that's okay. That's okay. Now that I'm going to lift gently upward just to make it look like little trees are growing on those hills far away. Short little strokes, tiny little strokes. There, just a little bit. Don't need a lot. Just a little bit. There we are. Maybe I'll even take a little of the titanium white. I'll put the least little touch of Indian yellow in it. And just here and there, touch a little bit so it just stands out a little. You can lighten it up a little. There, lift upward. But that's all I'm looking for. Just enough to make it stand out like the light's zinging across there. There, that's all we want. Okay. Now, well, you'll use this little number 3 fan brush. Take a little white, a little more of that brown. I want it to be a little bit darker than what we have up there, but not a great deal yet. All right, let's go up in here. Maybe there's a little stand of trees that live right here. Little group of trees. Happy little family of trees right there. I don't know. You decide. In your world, you put trees wherever you want them, as many as you want. There, see? And we can come back with our old 2-inch brush. And we just tap a little bit. That easy. And create a whole nother plane in our world. And we'll lift up, sort of bring it together, make it work. That's all there is to it. And back to our white with a little bit of the Indian yellow in it. And we can begin just showing some little dooders that climb up the hill like this. This will just show different planes in the hill. And that's all we're trying to do. Something about like that. Lift it up. There. And maybe over in here it just sort of disappears. We don't know where it goes. Don't know that we even care. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to cover all this up with that nice brown we made. There. As I say, I want this painting to have a sort of a brown flavor to it. I love this color. And I like paintings that are almost monochromatic. Just one basic color. All right. I tell you what, sometimes you have to get a little crazy. Let's take a little bit of that white and get a little roll of paint right on the edge of the knife there. Let's go up in here. And maybe we'll just make the indication just by doing this. That's all you have to do. Just like this. Just enough so that it separates. And we can begin putting little things like that. And if you just rub that very hard and keep it pretty level, when this is all done, it'll look like, well, watch, it'll look like there's maybe a little river back here somewhere. But it's far away. We don't want a lot of detail in it. Far, far away. Just something like that. And we'll come along and we'll put something in the foreground. but maybe there's some little rapids back here that it's slowly running over. And it's just to give an indication. Too far away to have a lot of detail in it. All right. We don't know where it goes back here. Don't know that we even care. Doesn't matter in our world. Something about like that. Okay, now I'm gonna grab a clean 2-inch brush. I'm gonna take that same brown that I made, but this time I'm gonna add a little bit of midnight black to it. I want it to start getting very dark. We're getting into the foreground now, and we need to get much darker, but we load it the same way. Let's go up in here. Okay, bravery test, maybe. Let's put some nice dark color in here. Very dark. You need dark in order to show light, and that's all we're putting this in here for right now. So the only reason we're putting it in here. There, we just make a nice little hill. See, and it pushes all that back very, very far. That easy. And you can just decide where you want this to live. Now you could really put this in any old way. I suggest you practice this tapping, because we're going to put grass on top of this, and it gives you a chance to practice those strokes. And anytime you can practice, it'll make your life so much easier. And besides that, it's more fun than just painting it on there with a paint roller. All right, that's coming along pretty good there. Something about like that. That's really all we're looking for. It's just a dark area. Then we'll come back, again putting all the beautiful little lights in there. All right. That's interesting. This is the 30th series of The Joy of Painting. Shoot, there's nearly 400 shows now. And if you hadn't got a chance to see them all in your area, give the station you're watching this on a call, because they're available to them. And if you'd like to see them, let them know. That's the only way they know that you're interested. There we go. Something about like that. Now then, going back to my old 2-inch brush, I'm going to take some sap green, a little bit of the cad yellow, yellow ochre, all those beautiful little colors. Just tap. Now then, back in here, I want the indication of a little bit of grassy area that lives right along in here. Something about like that. But just tap. All you have to do is tap. Just tap. You decide. About like that. See how you can make all those little things? And the more you tap it, the more it'll mix with the color that's already on the canvas, and it'll get darker and darker automatically. Automatically. You don't even have to worry about it. If you want to be bright, don't tap much. If you want to be darker, just get in there and tap the devil out of it. There. All right. Now, let's get crazy. You painted with me before. You know I really like trees. Let's take some Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, and midnight black. Mix them together. All right. Let me wipe the old knife. Let's grab. I'm using a number 6 fan brush this time. Number 3 would work okay. Doesn't matter. Whichever one you happen to pick up. Load it full of color. Maybe up here on the top of our little hill lives, yeah, you guessed it, happy little tree right there. I like little trees. They're some of the nicest people in the country. There, see? There he lives. I don't want him to be lonely. Maybe there's a little family up here that lives together. What a magnificent view to sit up here and look at all day. I'm envious. We'll have a little one right there. There we got a whole family. 3 little trees on the hill. Now then, I just want to scratch in the indication of a little tree trunk here and there. Something about like that. That's all we need. Take that same brown color, maybe add a little bit of the bright red to it. Not much, just a little bright red. There, maybe even a little touch of titanium white, just to get it to stand out a little bit. I don't want a lot of highlights on these. Yeah, that's plenty. Just enough so that you get the feeling there are some highlights, but they don't distract. There, this one next. You have to decide which tree lives in the foreground, which tree lives back. I think this one's right in the front. So we do him last, so he's in front. Hope that shows up. Now we can go back to our brush that has the sap green, a little Indian yellow, all those colors, all the different greens, and we can begin bringing this together. A few little dooders back here. But isn't that neat? See, got a little family of trees that sit here. They look out over this beautiful view. It is gorgeous. I'd like to live in a place. Well, I tell you what, why not? If I was going to live here, I'd need a house. I'm not very good at sleeping on the dirt. So let's come right up in here and let's build us a little, maybe there's a little house there. We'll just scrape this out a basic shape. Something like so. I want it right in front of these trees. We'll take a little Van Dyke, a little dark sienna mixed together, and let's just paint us in a quick little house. This is just a happy little house up here on the hill. Like that. There. Gives us a nice roof. Got to have a roof to keep the water out. There we go. Something like that. Now when you do yours, maybe you want to have a house that's different. Maybe you don't want to have a house. Maybe you want to have a 2-story house. You can do that. Anything that you want to do. Painting gives one almost total freedom, at least on this piece of canvas. A little brown and white, no pressure. I want this to be sort of an old raggedy house. There. As we mentioned earlier, doing stories and stuff. Maybe there's a trapper that lived here and he went down to the river one day to check his beaver trap and maybe he fell in. Who knows? Now we could do a cabinectomy. In other words, just cut it off. Get it the way we want it. Better have a door in our cabin. It's easier to get in and out if you got a door. It's hard climbing through the window sometime. There we go. Take a little dark color. Put the indication of a few boards and stuff on there if you want them. And you could have made a log cabin just as easy. Let's take a little red, a little white, a little dark sienna in it. Let's see, maybe, yeah, why not? Maybe this got a little red roof on there. It's not in too good a shape either. Not in too good a shape. The old shingles about fell off. It's got some holes in it. Yeah, a few little highlights right up here on top where the sun's really zinging across the top. A few little dooders down the side here. So it stands out. There. Got us a little cabin. All right, now we can go back to our brush with a grass color on it. And we can begin putting in all kinds of little grassy areas like this. Right up here by the trees. These trees remind me of my little squirrel. That'd be a good place for him to live. I want to show you my little squirrel one more time. Shoot, I've showed him to you a couple times in this series. He's one of the cutest little devils that you've ever seen. He's Peapod Jr. He likes to live in my pocket. Of course, by the time you get to see this, he'll already be turned loose and he'll be free. Probably living in my backyard, and he'll have a little condo back here in a tree. I love these little rascals. I raise a bunch of them every year, turn them loose. And they go back to nature where they're supposed to be. So, hope you enjoy seeing them little rascals. They're really special to me, and I like to share them with my friends. All right, maybe over in here. Okay, I see a thing happening here. It's a place for a path right there. Yeah, I see it. As you, I'm sorry to get excited, but as you paint, you begin seeing things here. They just sort of happen. Watch here. We take a little brown, and maybe you can see the indication of a little path coming out here. Maybe sort of disappears, comes out here, around. These things happen. Don't fight them when they happen. Very quickly you'll learn to use anything that happens in your painting, and it might make some of the most interesting compositions. A little bit of brown and white, just a small amount. And we can highlight a little just so it stands out here and there. All right, tell you what we need here. Let me find a liner brush. Take a little paint thinner. And we need a few little sticks and twigs that live right along in here. Maybe even something on out in here. Old stick that lives there. Might have been a little tree there that didn't have such a good time. Things got rough on him. Okay, let's get crazy. We got a minute left here. Take a little bit of the Midnight Black, Van Dyke Brown mixed together. All right, bravery test. Here it comes. Got to make those little weird noises. We got a happy little tree. It lives right there. And he's got a friend too. See? Now we got two little trees that live there. Let's go back to our liner brush. Need the paint thinner though, to make the paint very thin so it'll literally flow right over the top of the paint that's already on the canvas. Turn the bristles in there. That brings it to a very sharp point. There, you can see it. So you just turn them like that, okay? Now, if it's thin enough, it'll just flow right over the top of that paint without mixing together. About like that. And you can put in all kinds of little arms on your trees. Just wherever you want them. You have to decide though, like, which one's in front, which one's behind. These are decisions that you make in your world. Gives you a lot of power, doesn't it? There we are. Okay. You know, every day we get letters from fantastic friends all over the country who are picking up a brush and trying this, and they're saying, you told me I could do it, and I never believed it until I tried. Now I have my whole family painting. That's so wonderful when families do things together, because this is something you can do with your spouse, with your children, with friends, neighbors, or even people you want to be your friend. It's a good way to meet new people. Because people who paint just seem to be some of the nicest people. There we are. All kinds of little duders. And you decide, once again, you must make these decisions. We don't want to tell you how many limbs to put on your tree, or even what kind of tree to paint, because painting is a very individual thing. There. I'm going to take a little white, a little bit of the Midnight Black, paint thinner. Just mix them together a little bit, black and white, or white and black. And I'm going to come right along here, put a little highlight right on the side of that tree. There, if the sun's up here, zing. Just to make him a little sparkler on the side there. Something about like it. All right, go back to our brush. It's got the sap green and all the yellows on it. Tap a little color. And let's just clean up the bottom of his foots here. Bring all that together. Maybe there's a little baby tree down here. He's going to take over one day. One day he'll be the big tree, but now he's just a little baby. And I think with that, shoot, we've about got a finished painting. Take a little paint thinner, a little bit of the bright red, and let's sign this little rascal. Really hope you've enjoyed this little painting. It's a very simple little painting. It'll work for you. If you have time, take a photograph and send to us. All of us here at the station would love to see what you're doing. So until then, from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, and God bless, my friend.